and welcome to the big story here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. This is where we get to discuss key issues shaping our nation and our economy at large. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Today we're focusing on solutions to food insecurity in Nigeria and how the country can boost interest in agriculture. Approximately 30.6 million Nigerians are projected to face acute food and nutrition insecurity between June and August 2025. Now, this estimate is a significant increase, with Nigeria experiencing the largest global increase in acute food insecurity in 2024. The situation is being exacerbated by factors like insecurity, conflict, economic hardship, and climate change. Also, high cost in poultry production due to forex input component has driven prices of poultry, pushing them beyond the reach of millions of ordinary Nigerians, with consequential malnutrition, especially among the younger populations. To understand this even so much better, we are joined by Mr. Femi Adelayo, is the Managing Director and CEO of Facco West Africa Limited. Welcome to the show, Mr. Adelayo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Very good morning to you. It's good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Same here.
Right. Let me start by asking how you would assess the current state of food security in Nigeria. What's your assessment so far?
Well, I would say that it's challenging. It's some sort of a curve. Sometimes it seems to be getting better. Sometimes it seems to be getting a little bit not as much as we would like it to be. There were times when the prices of foodstuff really came down comparative to how it was before, and then lately it started to rise again. But so it's not yet stable, as it were. But sometimes it comes down, sometimes it goes up. Yeah, but for the people, I guess it's still a big challenge for many homes in Nigeria.
Right. And when we talk about the root causes of Nigeria's current food crisis, how would you actually prioritize that it's better addressed?
Well, Nigeria has over 90 million hectares of land. Much of it is arable land for farming. I think the original challenges could have been a lack of investment in farming, or maybe inconsistent policies. But the government, as of the day, has been pushing some very good policies, but we hope to see them materialize. There's still so much more to be done, but the direction in which they are going, the government is going, is the right direction, but it needs to trickle down to the people and to the farms.
Mr. Adelayo, you are the MD CEO of a livestock, poultry, agricultural automation company. So what are your thoughts on how we can leverage technology to ramp up productivity and make food not only available, but also cheaper?
Well, we're Facco West Africa. We've been here for over 40 years, and we've seen a lot of things happen. We've been a part of the development of Nigeria. We can use technology. The government is driving automation. It's an area that we work very well in, driving automation to ensure that there's food production, there's easy access. I think it's automation, really. I think it's also financing for farmers to be able to access these automations. I think it's the technological know-how for people to be able to maintain and manage these advanced technologies. I also think it's an open mind, really, for younger people to get into that space, encourage young people to get into the space, develop the technologies and increase the capacities. We have a lot of farmers in Nigeria, whether it is in poultry, cattle, piggery, but we need to also have that systems where they are automated and mechanized that can leapfrog the population into food security in Nigeria.
And I mean, in the line of your work, you are in the best position to tell us some of the lapses that you have identified and how you'd encourage the government to address some of these lapses that Nigeria's agricultural sector continues to face in order for us to forge ahead.
Well, that is, there are quite a number of challenges. I often give this analogy. I say in the livestock sector where we work, building out silos, equipping farms with poultry installations and cattle installations and feedlots at ranches. One thing that we've noticed that for there to be adequate production of the livestock, there has to be enough feed, livestock feed, poultry feed, piggery feed, cattle feed, available for the farmers, available for the feed millers that will then be passed on to the poultry farmers. One thing or one or two things that make feed rise and make it challenging is the raw materials, which is primarily maize and soya. And while it is also good to ensure that there is availability through as many forms as possible, encouraging farmers to go to the farm and actually produce in the quantity that is required is the long-term solution. One key area I believe that if the government can tap into and shared by some of our industry players is in the area of affordable, accessible fertilizer. Seedlings, yes. Fertilizer, yes. Let me give you an example. If, for example, fertilizer is available and affordable, this is something that every farmer needs absolutely. If it's affordable because it's a major part of the input cost for farming, for maize, for wheat, for soya, once it's available, many more people can go to the farms, and that will drop down the local prices of the grains in the market. Now, if this happens, more people can, there can be more feed on the market at affordable cost. There can be more people going to the livestock farming, whether it is poultry, cattle, or whatever, fish. Once they have all this, so you can imagine just fixing fertilizer, fixing seed, fixing the access to land, fixing the access to finance, fixing security. These 3, 4, 5 things majorly. If you can fix those things, you would find out that the ripple effect over the coming 6 months to 1 year will be astronomical. So fertilizer, seeds, access to finance, and proper security for the farming communities. That will bring down the price. And let me not forget logistics costs. It will bring down the price of the grains or the food items into the market, and then it will make it cheaper. Absolutely.
Right. You've mentioned fertilizers, you mentioned seeds, you've mentioned access to finance, and you've mentioned logistics. Now, let's talk about the youth. We see that in a country like Nigeria, people are catching on, but not as much as you would expect. The youth still find agriculture to be something that, maybe it's a little not as cool as you'd want it, as you expect them to think it should be. So how can the government make agriculture more attractive to the youth?
I think it's about constant engagement. I think it's about showing a better picture than we see. Most of the time when you hear about a farmer, and that is absolutely not true, it's a stereotype. You hear a farmer, you think it's an old man or an old woman, and some of the media pictures, they don't do justice to farming. You see, if you want to show a picture of a farmer, you see an old man on land, with a hoe and a cutlass. But that's not farming. That's not mechanized farming. That's not the farming of the future. And so we have to change the narratives and encourage young people. Young people also need finance. Young people need access to affordable finance. Young people need to be together in communities. You can't be in silos. There are a number of groups and a number of communities where young people can join that are actively promoting agriculture. I could mention a few. Lagos State is doing it. Niger State is doing it. There are a few other states that are doing stuff like that. But there needs to be a lot more engagement and interaction with young people. The way we talk about social media and entertainment and football and all the things like that, we should also speak about the possibilities of agriculture. The media needs to change the pictures that are around agriculture. Show us combine harvesters, show us tractors, show us young people on the farm with their iPads, ensuring that the land is working well and they're testing the soil. more young people can see that as a thing for the future. Here's the thing. The population of farmers are aging, and we need to get young people into the farms, doing it to the next level, doing it as the futuristically as possible, not just, the hydroponics or soilless farming or greenhouse, but even on the actual land where we have millions of unused hectares, right? We need to get young people there, but we need to encourage them. We need to change the narratives around it, and we need to give them access to finance.
And if there's something you're saying, I think there's also one thing we need to add to this conversation, because I was at an event recently and we're talking about how to make agriculture even more attractive, and something was pointed out that it's beyond just farming. There could be agricultural influencers. Like right now, many young people want to create content and do all of those things. So it could be your own part is going to the farm and filming, and also just talking about some of the agricultural products and just being an influencer. You don't necessarily need to be the one farming. So I just wanted to add that. But let me talk about how Nigeria can increase their food production to actually meet with the demand of this growing population, because that's also something. Our population is constantly growing, but we're seeing that we're not able to find the balance between actually increasing food production to meet the demands of this growing population. So how can this be met?
Well, like I said earlier, it will be addressing the inputs in the short term. It will be taking bold, radical steps, ambitious projects, ambitious goals backed by adequate funding to ensure that it's done. You're right. The population of the country is, by 2015 will be probably the second or third largest population in the world. And we have to feed this mouse in another 25 years thereabout. So we need to leapfrog our agricultural sector. It will be bold initiatives. We've had a lot of policy master plans, agricultural policies, and all those things over the years. Perhaps we should have the policy that we can push into the future. Some of the goals that are set are ambitious, but for you to meet these ambitious goals, you have to do radical things. Like in the livestock sector, you want to increase the number of cattle, but there are some simple things. There are things you can't change. It only takes a certain amount of time for a cow to, have a calf. Right? So if you want to do that, to get into the numbers that you want, what other different things are you going to do? We can't do the same thing, do it in a linear progression and expect a geometrical result. It's not likely going to happen. But the intentions are good. So for us to leapfrog that, for us to move into the future, we have to absolutely do a few things differently and encourage the young people, use technology, digital, single digit affordable finance, investment. We're getting investments, from Brazil, from Saudi Arabia, but we need to make sure that we're not just investing to export, but we are investing to be able to feed our people, equip our people with technological know-how, and then we.
Mr. Adelayo, I think we've lost you. Your audio is, I think it's muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, crystal clear.
All right. So yes, I was saying that beyond the investment to export, we have to be able to also ensure that we can feed our population. We can become a country that not only produces for ourselves, but we can export to every other country in the world. In the 60s, agriculture was our bread and butter. And it can't come back to that. I believe that sincerely. I believe that we can improve what we have, but we need to roll up our sleeves and get it out there. Everybody playing their part. And like I said earlier, Facco is willing and welcome to work with anyone to be a part of this development for the country and its development.
And having said all of this, what policy reforms would you propose to stabilize food prices and ensure food affordability for low-income Nigerians?
Well, I think that, like I said earlier, the steps are in the right direction. However, there needs to be more engagement with the players in the industry. There needs to be more listening and conversation, and everybody needs to get out of their silos and work together. There is the Green Imperative Project. There are a lot of all these other things that are actually currently ongoing. So I think the policy is in the right direction, but the implementation of the policy needs to be a lot more engaging for all the players, and we need to get to the nitty-gritty of it and ensure that it works. That will be my take on it.
And just before I let you go, let's talk about reducing import dependency, because for a country like Nigeria with so much food, so much agriculture, so much untapped, resources, we need to talk about reducing import dependency and improving our market regulation to support food subsidy programs. So how would you suggest, from a wealth of experience, that we go about this?
Well, reducing import dependency is absolutely important, especially in terms of the grains, of the raw materials, or things that farmers can actually produce. I do think, though, however, that there has to be a seamless move from reduction of import dependence into actual production. So there has to be a constant handshake. In a global world that we are in, it's pretty hard for you to say, oh, you want to ban importation of some things while you don't have the local production available. What you're going to do is you're going to create scarcity, and then you're going to create a demand, and the prices will rise, and then you will go right back to what you left. So I believe that it's sincerely a synergy of policies. I believe that it is encouraging farmers to go to the farms, making the access to the farms safe and secure. I believe that it is having suitable storage systems like grain storage and silos, something we also do quite well. I believe it is having logistics sorted, affordable transportation, and we're in that direction with the CNG, the reduction in diesel and gas prices. Hopefully it comes down some more. I believe that when we have all these things and then access to markets, commodities exchanges, you can easily have a better grasp on the farming landscape and a reduction in import dependence. Countries that we likely import from or that export, countries like India and Brazil, they've been where we are today. But they took the bull by the horn. They developed their sectors. They worked with their extension workers, worked with their researchers and academics, and then they pushed forward. So that will be an area I think we can work on, reducing import dependence, getting people to the farms, getting the produce from the farms to the storage, and getting them to the market. Then we don't need to import. We don't need to import as much. And then we can be self-sustaining and feed ourselves.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Femi Adelayo, Managing Director and CEO of Facco West Africa Limited. It was a delight speaking to you on The Big Story this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
You too. Well, that's where we bring it to wraps on The Big Story. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Keep watching BDTV.